I think that hair is the ultimate best accessory. When you wake up and you have a bad hair day, you lead with a bad day. And if you have a bad haircut, it's traumatizing. I think when you are going through a breakup or some kind of like really big milestone, you do something to your hair. It's like the first thing. I think that it's very emotional.
Welcome back to The Materialist. I am Mark Bridge, the founder and CEO of At Present, Matchmaker to Extraordinary Jewelry, and I am your host. Today, we wade into new waters for the podcast, and particularly for me, we're going to the world of hair, and we're starting at the top. I have the pleasure of sitting with Jenna Perry,
Hi.
It Girl colorist, and queen of hot girl hair, allegedly.
Allegedly.
So how much of that is you and how much of that is people saying that about you? I'm fascinated by, as creatives, as artists, how much are we doing the promotion versus how much are people talking on our behalf?
I think I'm lucky enough to use it as an art, as an expression. So I think a lot of it is people saying that. I would never walk in a room and say, I'm the it girl colorist, or I never really set off in this world of beauty to be that. I just am enamored by women and hair and beauty and fashion. So I think it's just what brought me here and the claim to fame.
And where did that start? I read that you have early in life memories of going with your mother and grandmother, and that hair was, I don't know, in the ether. Is that kind of where the seed was planted?
Yeah, I mean, the women in my family were very glamorous women. They loved their beauty routine. My grandma would go to the salon every Friday, and so if I happened to be with her, I'd be going there too. And I just observed the environment and atmosphere of it all, the smells and just like the buzziness and the warmth of my grandma or my aunt and my mom and their hairdresser. And it was just fascinating to me at such a young age.
And so as you're looking out on, okay, what am I going to do with my life? I go, oh, that could be interesting.
Yeah.
When did that become a real possibility for you?
I feel like I really always wanted to do that, probably at the age of 6. It was really romantic to me. And then in high school, or maybe in middle school, I was starting to really experiment with my friend's hair. And I knew right away. I used to come to New York City a lot to dance. I was a dancer when I was a kid. And so I loved the heartbeat of the city. I grew up in a very sleepy beach town in Rhode Island. And so I knew with my parents who were artists, my father was a musician, my mom was a dancer, I knew I wanted to be a little bit in a bigger place. So that's what brought me here.
And so you go to school for this and you show up and you start knocking on doors and saying, does anybody have a need for an apprentice? How does the world of climbing the ladder work?
Oh, actually, that's really interesting because when I moved to New York right after hair school, I was 19 and I was shy. I didn't want to go to the big salon at all. It like really intimidated me. And I think it took me maybe a few years to really break out of my shell and just say, what am I doing? It took me a really long time. But in that era of my confidence, I was working at a smaller salon that I really built great relationships with, and I was assisting people on fashion shows. And so I was doing the thing, but what I've created now, the big salon in New York City, is what I was very intimidated by.
And that became more palatable over time. You took on more responsibility. You took on more clientele and higher profile clientele. I'm curious, when does it go from I'm just doing what it is that you tell me to I am consulting with somebody and this is a collaborative process versus now you're in the place where you are in some ways articulating what people are coming in and asking for?
It's just years of trial and error and confidence and building relationships and just mastering your craft, I think. It takes years. It really does.
Is it confidence? Is it skill? What is the thing that accumulates over time?
It's definitely both. It's managing people's expectations. It's
The human element. That's the
yes.
relational bit.
Yes, and women in their hair, for sure. It's an emotional transfer. Yeah, I think it's definitely skill. It starts at skill and bedside manner and professionalism and trust, everything, all of that.
I'm curious, you just said women and their hair. There was a implied ... there. Tell us about women and their hair. What does it mean for people?
I think that hair is the ultimate best accessory. When you wake up and you have a bad hair day, you lead with a bad day. And if you have a bad haircut, it's traumatizing. I think when you are going through a breakup or some kind of like really big milestone, you do something to your hair. It's like the first thing. And yeah, I think that it's very emotional.
Is that a reset? Why is it that then that is a trigger for I need to change something? Because I can change something material very quickly in a way that other things take longer?
I think it's a reset. I think you're like cutting the dead energy off, or you're like with color, you're refreshing, you're like bringing something to life.
On those sort of situations, someone will come in and they'll just say, I need new. Or do they have a vision for what they want?
At this point in my career, I think women sit in my chair and say, what do you think? And I love that. I love it because I love being in a collaborative state with the client and making them feel their best. But there are times where women come in and they're very specific. And I think now with social media and with Pinterest and TikTok, women really know what they want. They do their research.
And where do those trends come from? I'm fascinated by the idea that something doesn't exist or something existed a long time ago, and then all of a sudden it's in the zeitgeist and then it's everywhere. And that seems to happen faster and faster. Where do people get those initial bits of inspiration?
Definitely celebrities, for sure. Yeah, people still really look to the celebrities for a lot of inspiration.
And do I pick a celebrity that I follow, or do I look at the universe and I go, oh, she's captured what I want at this moment?
I think it's that. I definitely think it's...
They're the most prominent billboards for what I could be.
Yeah, it's taste. It's like attraction to what personal style.
And tell me about building your business. It's a big deal to go from being an independent solopreneur to saying, all right, I want this to be mine and I'm going to take this leap and I'm going to stick my name over the door. What was that process like?
Yeah, I think that was something I didn't think about. When I stuck my name on the door, I had no idea. Back then, that was 6 years ago this month. I was just
Happy anniversary. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, I, at that time in my career, really felt like I was being put in a box, and I had a bigger idea for a bigger brand, and I just wanted to create something that was like my energy. So
what was the box?
I was becoming more known through social media, and at the time I just was working for someone who wasn't supportive enough in that way. But yeah, so I just went off on my own and I opened a small space, 600 square feet in the East Village. And I thought, this is where I'm going to take my clients. I already have a full clientele and this is it. And then COVID happened 6 months later. A lot of things happened in those first 6 months of me opening my business.
Were you planning on having other people working with you when you opened that space?
No, not really. I was going to have a support staff, and my assistant eventually would graduate to taking her own clients. And so I think we went from 4 people to 17 very fast. And now I have 40 employees. And now I've fully leaned in.
And your job is different now, I would imagine.
Yes. It is very different. In the beginning, it was like I was playing Office, make believe. It was fun, and it was really learning from all of my mistakes and asking everyone for help. I had so many people that were supportive, and you need to put your name on the door. You have such a strong name. And at the time, I just was like, okay, didn't think anything of it. And now, yeah, we have this. The salon is like an auto body shop at this point.
In what way?
Especially in September. Everyone's back and they need their maintenance. And
Wow.
it's high volume, but I like to keep it not what the business model of a high volume hair salon is, but it's just my staff is just running, and we're like, my whole team is fully booked, and it is just like a 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. day of just hair all day. It's really cool.
You made a transition that I didn't appreciate until the last few years, just how rare it is. From being an artist with a view who is working with a person at a time to building a company and building a brand. And I didn't appreciate just how different that skill set was until we started in our business working with artists who had success and then needed to scale. And some can't. And there's this interesting balance between growth and control. And sometimes the best artists get that way because they have a very high degree of control. And then when something is outside of their immediate arm's reach, they lose it.
Yeah.
Was that ever a problem for you?
There have been times where I've felt spread thin, and I've found that the business side of things was taking over my art and creativity. But now I think I've gotten to a place where I can do both. And when I know that I'm doing too much of the business, I can delegate that to somebody else. And when I really need to focus on the hair, it's taken years. But now, a friend told me recently, you're the most chaotic, responsible person I know.
And did you take that as a compliment?
It's going on my tombstone. It's really, it's
That's winning.
Proven. Yes, I'm pretty good, I think, managing both pretty well.
And what is a week? What is the balance that you have found that sort of satisfies, all right, I'm actually working hands-on. I'm building a business. Here I'm building a brand. Here I'm developing partnerships.
So now I'm only behind the chair doing hair Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So like this week, it's every day. I'm in at least doing one person who's in town. But Mondays are
We are recording this during New York Fashion Week, just for context here, that it is back to school and it is back to work and it is back to the fashion calendar.
Everyone is back. New York City is alive.
As traffic today suggested.
Yes. Mondays are a really big day of meetings and calls and emails. Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm behind the chair. And Thursdays and Fridays, I'm also like just doing business things. Or I'm traveling. Sometimes I have to go out to LA for a client. I have a client in Paris that I see. That's rare, especially for a colorist. Not really especially for a colorist, but for me, a lot of my clients come to the salon. They feel safe there. But there's been more travel in my life, in my career.
I'm curious about that. And you have really the sort of top tier of clients, at least as I have read, the Bella Hadids and Kendall Jenners of the world. And my sense is that people who operate in that strata expect the world to come to them. Yeah. And how do you think about that versus I'm building for myself?
I think there are times where those big celebrities need me to come to them, and I totally get it. They're all over the map, but a lot of them really take the time and respect the art of the business and what we're doing, and they want their hair to look exactly perfect, so they come to me because my space is set up for perfection when it comes to hair. It's really hard doing hair in a bathtub.
Or on a coffee table in a hotel bathroom, as we were just talking about.
Or on a coffee table in a hotel bathroom.
And how do you think about who you work with? If you're working 2 days a week, hands-on, what is the mix between marquee people and people you've worked with forever? Or, I don't know, do you ever see random people who wander in the door and say, oh my God, I want the Jenna treatment?
Well, if you're in, and then you just have to book your appointment.
Gotta knock somebody else off in order to get in.
But I have an incredible crew of colorists, and a lot of them trained under me, so they know my technique. And then I have my other colorists that have a very different vibe, and I've just created and cultivated this team that I know my clients that can't get in with me can go see and trust, and they leave happy. So I'm happy to have made it here this far.
And to have the confidence in your team that they will take as good a care of somebody as you do. That's really success as a leader.
Yeah, it's really important, and it takes a lot of work. That's one part of running the business. You have to make sure that the team's happy.
Are there things that you have done differently in your business after your experience of working for somebody else?
Oh, for sure. Definitely. I think I offer health insurance. We don't get that as hairdressers. I've created like a career hair salon, and I think my team is very happy. Definitely, they feel taken care of.
On some of these major changes, the debuts on red carpets and in movie premieres, what causes someone to say, all right, it's time? I read that there was talking about a particular actress got a glow up befitting her transition from sidekick to main character.
Oh, yeah.
What if someone comes and they're like, okay, it's my time now? What do we do?
There's a lot of workshopping ideas and referencing old images or like photos of them back in the day. And yeah, it's like a collaborative moment where I think my expertise and their vision kind of gets married, and it's fun. It's really fun to create a moment.
And does that happen 3 weeks in advance? You start texting back and forth inspiration shots, or what does that shopping look like?
A week in advance. 3 weeks is...
That's an eternity.
Yeah, 3 weeks is someone that's very responsible, and I do have a few of them. And those clients, they're now friends. They know that if there's something that's happening where they really have to show up and have a whole kind of jaw-dropping moment, it takes time.
Yeah. And when you do those things, do you ever hold your breath and go, "Oh my God, I hope this works. I hope the result is."
Yes, the process of an artist. It's a roller coaster, but once you're done, and all you can do is do your best or try your best or have the best intentions, and sometimes you don't nail it. And I've walked away from projects before just being like, oh, I don't love it, but if they're happy, then that's great.
Yeah. Do you have situations where someone gets up and looks in the mirror and they go, oh my God, I don't see me?
I haven't had that happen in a really long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it happens. And again, women, and men, I can't just say women, but you have to just try it out. And if you don't like it, I always tell my clients, if it's on your head, we can fix it. But there's a lot of damage that can be involved in hair color. And that's my most important thing, is keeping the hair's integrity and health.
And how do you do that?
I work with Olaplex, and I love their products so much. I would never work with a company I don't stand for. They've built this brand based off of a bond building science. It's science, and it really is like insurance for the hair. So just knowing I have them in my back pocket always helps me breathe in a hair transformation.
How do partnerships like that come about?
Social media, clientele, knowing the right people.
And they reach out and say, we love what you're doing. Will you help spread the gospel here?
Yeah.
And other things, you've started developing commercial products to sell through other companies. How do you think about that?
Developing commercial products.
You
I
did
haven't developed anything. Although I did, I helped R&Co develop a shade of red hair color. And that was
which is very special to you, I believe.
Yes.
Tell our listeners why.
Because I'm a redhead naturally. And yeah, that project was hardcore. It was difficult. We were in a town outside of Milan in a factory, and yeah, it was really fun. It was a lot of work though, but I'm proud of it, and it was really cool to understand like how the sausage is made.
And what is the brief for something like that? They come to you and they're like, hey, we want to do something. We love your whole vibe, and would you be willing to play with us?
Yeah, it was a little bit more casual than that. The team at R&Co is just so cool. I love them. And yeah, they were just like, hey, we want to do this. Want to come to Italy? And yeah, I went.
Cool. Color is like chemistry, right?
Yeah.
And so how complicated is this? Are these math problems that you're doing and putting this together, or is this more like mixing paint where it's more impressionistic?
It's definitely more like mixing paint. And we would dream up the color. We would talk to the chemists. They would make the color. We would go back to the testing site, test it on someone's hair, and I'd say, oh, it needs a little more gold, or it needs a little more copper, and we'd go back to the lab and they would tweak it. But yeah, I'm sure if I ever were to develop my own product, it would be way more in-depth and thorough. I got to just have a little taste.
Dabble in it. Did you know before that, having been the user of these things, how the sausage was made?
I had an idea.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize how hardcore, like I said, it is. And it's fascinating.
I love factories of all kinds. Maybe it was being a child of the Mr. Rogers era, and he would go to the crayon factory and you'd see how Crayola would put things together. And I don't know, I guess that's maybe the inspiration behind why I think material culture is so interesting, that how things come together are interesting, and how they are made matter. And then, and I think it's particularly important for you, how they are used matters. This does.
Yeah, it matters so much.
There are all kinds of old stereotypes about what someone's hair color says about them or relates to their personality. Do you think that's true?
No, not anymore. Yeah, I think that hair color comes with personal style and self-expression, and I don't think that blondes had a really bad run.
Whoever was doing their PR during the 20th century.
Yeah, but no, I think that's been thrown out the window for a while now.
But when I change my color, my mood does change.
That's true. I think definitely when people change their hair color, they really like it. It switches up your entire vibe.
Tell us about your personal style.
My personal style. I feel like I've always been colorful, and I have always loved vintage.
Vintage clothing, furniture, objet.
Yeah, definitely vintage clothing, vintage jewelry. Furniture, I'm a mix of both, but very colorful and eclectic. I love a staple piece that I can just wear to the ground over and over again. I have a lot of old vintage that I still wear from 20 years ago. I wake up in the morning and I'm always inspired by something new. So I'd say, yeah, my personal style is kind of all over the place.
You're wearing all sorts of fun jewelry. What are you wearing today?
So I'm wearing this vintage Rolex that I bought myself for my birthday. I got it from my friend Bryn, who does dime piece.
I am talking with her this afternoon.
Are you?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, I was with her yesterday. I love her. I love gold. Like I said, the women in my life were very glamorous Italian women, and so when I was a baby, I remember. I wish I'm so bummed. I don't know what they did with it, but I had this little gold cuff, and in every picture of me as a baby, I had this little gold cuff. But I pretty much was born in gold, and so I'm wearing this bracelet that I never take off from Jennifer Fisher. She gave it to me. It says JPH, Jenna Perry Hair. This is a tennis bracelet that I got from a vintage show that I love. Same, this ring I got in London at an antique store. This is like a newer-ish piece from a pinky ring from a store in Hudson, New York. And yeah, just Jennifer Fisher earrings.
And the necklace is
yes, this is also Jen Fish. She's a really good friend of mine, and so I have a few of her pieces that I never take off.
Was there something that you dreamed about that you said at some point when I accomplish something, I'm going to get for myself?
I want to buy a house. We're getting there. I don't have time yet. That's like a full-time job.
Yeah.
But we're getting there. I want to buy a little escape house upstate.
Where would you want to be?
I'm not really sure. I just have a vision. House with lots of windows in the woods. And I want to turn it into a spa.
Sounds delightful.
Yes.
What was the last piece of jewelry you bought for yourself?
The last piece of jewelry I bought for myself, I'm not wearing it, but it is a snake ring that I also got from an antique store. I can't believe how many antiques I'm talking about. And it's from the 40s. I'm not wearing it today. I'm sad. I forgot it.
When you are looking at things that are vintage or antique, is it the design? Do you imagine the lives that it has lived before it got to you? What is the part that you connect most with?
Yeah, I think it's the design. Maybe the lives that it's lived scares me a little bit more than I think about that. But
sorry for planting that seed. Now going to come haunt you.
No bad energy yet.
We were talking earlier, we're at the Chelsea Hotel in New York, and about how much I like the positive energy of the ghosts here. I think they're interesting ghosts.
I love this hotel.
Yeah. And I don't know, I guess I don't have any vintage pieces that were not things that were family. And so I guess I don't have the experience of other people's juju. I at least have some vague sense of whatever weird things my grandfather got into when I wear his cufflinks. But
yeah, it's funny because I was in Florence, Italy a few years ago, and we were at this vintage store, and I was with my two really great friends, and this woman just saw how intrigued we were, so she said, let me take you to this back room, and she had all of these pieces, and she knew the story behind everyone, and it was really cool. I got this dress. And yeah, I often think about that one. I think I've worn it twice, but I often think about the woman who owned the dress before me. But I do also have a lot of vintage pieces from the 70s from my mom, which I love, like lots of slip dresses and stuff.
And the vintage is cool, and then I think share the same fascination I have when you know people who make things. That makes it very special. And so whether it's Jennifer's pieces for you or I'm wearing a piece, my bracelet is something that my friends Adam and Heidi made, and that knowing the hand behind it, I think imbues it with a different kind of
power. And I always love to support my friends. Like I have a ton of friends that make clothes, and I love wearing their clothes with pride. And it's important to support the people that you love.
Are there people who have been particularly supportive of you, who saw you along the journey and gave you the plaudits?
Definitely. I have a crazy support system. There's like too many to name at this point. But love them so much.
What else do you want to do? What's in the dream factory?
I would.
Besides the spa, which I'm already ready to
Yeah,
sign.
that's private. That's a personal project. I want to just keep solidifying my brand. I reopened my original space, the 600 square foot space that we like burst out of immediately.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And so we opened that in the spring, and it's really just a treatment spa. And I wanted to see how that went for the spring, summer, and I'm probably going to reopen it as, it is open, but I'm going to introduce full service there too, because I have this incredible team, and I think it's just best to spread out and have our space on 9th Street and in Soho and just create two different spaces within the brand.
Are there people that you admire, other brands, other creators who you think deserve more attention?
I'm surrounded by so many creative women, and everyone is hustling in New York. It's so cool. My friend Kelsey, who does pop-up florists, I was with her last night, and she's so busy right now with Fashion Week, and just she has a child, and to hear her like hustle this week it's just fascinating. You meet up with these people at the end of the day, and it really like grounds you.
If people want to find you in the world on the socials or wherever else you might exist, where can they find you?
At Jenna Perry Hair is my page, and then we have our studio page where you can see my staff and their beautiful work that they do, which is Jenna Perry Hair Studio.
And on social media, you talked about how important that was in helping to grow your business. What are the stories that you're telling there?
I'm really just posting photos of my work. I think that I have definitely been more personal on there as of the past few years as a business owner. I try not to get too female foundery because I think that's just not my brand. I like to just show my art.
What is female foundery? Girl bossing?
The girl boss of it all.
Yeah.
I get it, and I think that a lot of people want to hear that, but I'd rather keep it sexy. It's not.
Which part?
The running the business, the 24/7.
It's not, and I think it's an interesting conversation because I think people get sold on that vision of this is what it feels like, or it would feel like to be an entrepreneur. And if somebody was really honest with you, what it feels like is getting run over by a boulder every single day and then getting up the next morning and doing it again. And there's like actually no glamour in that. And like the martyrdom is just masochism.
Yeah, it's not for the faint or weak, for sure.
So you just had to do it because it was there. What was the calling? What was the motivation?
I think just like freedom, and also like self-expression. I really had a vision for my brand, and I wanted to bring that to life.
Do you see business as an art?
Now I do. I love the business. I love talking about the business.
What changed that opened that up for you?
I don't know. Just seeing how someone like me who went to hair school after high school could open a very successful business by just putting my head down, being a nice person, asking for help when I needed it, and watching it grow. And it's still growing. It's fascinating.
Have you had people who have worked with you go off and do their own thing? Or if I'm the talented person who works for you and I say, hey, Jenna, I want to go do this. What are you going to tell me?
I'm always supportive. No one has done that yet, knock on wood. I love my team, and I'm very loyal, so that hasn't happened yet. But if it happens, I get it. We all have to grow, and change is good, and I think like energy shifting is really important, and yeah, I'm super supportive of that.
Is it the second location that you have partnered with your friend Jenna on?
Yes.
How does that partnership work?
So that's just, she's my chief of staff. She's on maternity leave right now. We were just texting. I miss you. But she's just been my biggest supporter. And she sees the vision, and she's like my other half building this project. It was just like cheeky. I was like, I'm going to name it Jenna's, but it's going to be named after you, who it just works.
Is it apostrophe S? Is it S apostrophe? What is the...
Yeah, apostrophe S.
All right. So there's some mystery as to which Jenna it belongs to on any day.
Yes. Right now it belongs to me because she's on maternity leave. But she texts us every day and it's like, how's it going? I see the schedule. And we're like, turn off
maybe
your phone,
you should.
babe.
It's a hard thing to do when you are so invested in something to switch it off. Again, the sort of blessing and the curse of being in it.
Yeah.
Jenna Perry, thank you so much. Such a delight to talk with you.
Thank you so much. This was fun.
That's it for this episode of The Materialist. If you like what you heard, please like, rate, and subscribe to The Materialist wherever you get your podcasts. The Materialist is a presentation of At Present Matchmaker to Extraordinary Jewelry. We'll see you next time.